He allowed us to follow our dreams of attending and to soon graduate from college. We pledge to live out the legacy he left and continue the relationship between Marquette University's Educational Opportunity Program and Shorewood High School. May Mr. Harris's soul rest eternally, but his legacy live on forever. We love you, Mr. Harris.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Nelson Brown. I'm the campus supervisor here at the high school. When I was first asked to talk tonight, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous. But then I had to ask myself, what would Mr. Harris do right now? Then the answer came easy. See, knowing him, he would rise to the occasion and tough it out. That's just what Mr. Harris did. If he said he was gonna do something, he did it all the way and he never complained about it. The man only knew one way to work and one way only. Hard as heck. I've never met anybody who can get as much done in one day than he did. I got to work with Mark my first year here, and he made it a blast. Never did I think I would meet somebody like him who was so great with the kids and always knew what to say. He just seemed like, the perfect kind of guy. Over time, I learned that Mr. Harris had a different song for every situation in life. It seemed like no matter what happened, no matter what time it was, you could always count on Mark to find some song that fit the situation, even if sometimes he was the only one who actually knew what it was. If I had to pick one song to break down Mark Harris, it would probably have to be I Ain't No Joke by Eric B. and Rakim. And one thing about Mark, he was definitely no joke. You didn't play around with him. Mark taught me to be an advocate for all my students. See, he understood that kids had good days and bad days just like us. But the thing that made him great was he never let those bad days get in the way of all the good ones that were to follow. I think we can all take something away from this. For me, it'll probably have to be live every day like it should last. Touch as many people as you can while you can. And most important, if you love somebody, go ahead, tell them. Most people never get the flowers where they can still smell them. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joanne Lipozovic, and I'm here on behalf of the parents. I first met Mark during his interview for the assistant principal position here at the high school many years ago. Another parent and I looked at one another after the interview and mouthed, "Wow." We knew right from that moment that Mark was special. We just had no idea how special of a man he would be to so many of us. This week, I spent time reflecting in an attempt to capture my sense of Mark through my experience as a parent and a parent volunteer in the district. I found myself coming back to the lessons I learned from him, directly through many conversations we shared, and indirectly through stories from my parent friends and from my children and from your children. Because more than anything, Mark was a teacher to all of us, by word and by example. Mark came to Shorewood intent on teaching a Haitian proverb to all of us. He spoke of it in the panel interview, and he spoke of it again in a Ripples interview featuring him. The proverb is this: the fish don't see the water. It is simple, and yet, in the words of The Roof, just sung by the chamber, it is so exhaustingly complex. Mark brought to Shorewood a clear sense of who he was and what were his values, and he was uncompromising in his commitment to help each student find his or her own sense of self. Raised by a single mom who he greatly admired and loved in River West, biking to Shorewood to play on the playgrounds, attending Whitnall High School as a 220 student, then to Marquette University, earning a rare spot as a walk-on basketball player, and finally, finding his calling as an educator, Mark brought his unique perspective and a desire to help us see our capacity, to understand our unique gifts as individuals and as a community, and to help us all recognize that which is so special about Shorewood. Mark also taught us by example to be ourselves, whoever that may be, and to celebrate the uniqueness of each of us. Who else, after all, could rock the bow tie, horn-rimmed glasses, a mop of crazy curly hair, and yellow pants quite like Mark Harris, while sporting a candle-filled crown and rapping happy birthday to a lucky middle schooler? Mark could fit anywhere, yet he defied categorization. He was always true to himself. We talk of differentiation in education, and Mark showed us how to treat each person, child or adult, based on their unique needs. He was consummately fair and showed us that fair is not always equal. Rather, parents saw a man who tailored his efforts to the unique student and their unique needs. The fish don't see the water. Mark was a man of profound honesty and unyielding integrity. He took responsibility for his actions and acknowledged his weaknesses. Earlier this fall, he and I spoke of a situation where he observed a colleague being treated disrespectfully, and surprisingly, Mark failed to speak up. Mark was really upset with himself because his inaction was inconsistent with his values and with what he expected all of us to do. Even when it is difficult, we each must speak up and defend those who are being treated unfairly. Mark could not undo his actions, though he did take steps to repair his breach and to publicly own his mistake. He sought out his colleague, he took responsibility for not acting, and he apologized. The fish don't see the water. So many parents had experienced Mark's incredible capacity for empathy and to meet people where they were without judgment. He patiently worked with every student to help them see their water, their potential, the qualities that were not visible to everyone else, and to help each of them see what he saw and believe in themselves like he believed in them. The stories are many of students who echo the sentiment that without Mr. Harris, who often believed in them more than they believed in themselves, they would not be where they are today. The fish don't see the water. Mark was persistent and engaged and all in every day. Several weeks ago, I ran into a young man who was a classmate of one of my older children, and we chatted, catching up a bit. I asked him what he was up to, and he shared that he had dropped out of school during his senior year and that he was nonetheless doing well. Why? Because Mark Harris stayed engaged, pushing this young man to get his high school equivalency. Mark told him it did not matter that he was no longer at school. Mark would not stop until this young man did so, because that was Mark's job, period. And this young man did so. Mark Harris saw the water, and he would not rest until this student saw it too. The fish don't see the water. Mark knew that Shorewood was a special place, and part of his mission in being here was to make sure we all understood this, appreciated this, and nurtured this. During his interview with Ripples, he spoke of what made Shorewood unique, and it is those things we all know to be true when we take the time to think and speak of them. Yet as parents, we sometimes get so caught up in other things that we forget the rarefied air we breathe here together. The fish don't see the water. What is this water? It is a community within the schools and in our larger village where we take care of one another, young and old. It is the engaged and passionate dialogues and debates about our future as a community. It is our tireless pursuit to do better and to try new ideas with honesty and integrity, knowing that sometimes we will fail and knowing that we will learn and we will try again. It is the celebration of our openness to and our acceptance of many ideas, our collective value in being lifetime learners, and our commitment to view the world through the many unique individual perspectives that are the threads woven into the beautiful fabric of our community. Mark knew this, and Mark wanted us all to see this, the water all around us, the gifts we all bring that he saw and that he challenged all of us to see. May we honor his legacy by seeing the water. And as I again quote the song performed by the chamber choir, may each of us today individually commit to be stunning, be awkward, imperfect, beautiful you, singular you, exhaustingly complex you. You are still becoming what you will be, you. May we all see daily the water that Mark saw so clearly. Thank you.
So there's one last piece we'd like to share with you. It's a collection of photographs that came from all of you. As we put a call out to say, send us pictures of Mark with students, with family, with colleagues, we put together quite a collection. And we think it's going to be a joyful and fitting tribute to Mark. Following that slideshow, we welcome you to gather on the front lawn for a candlelight vigil that'll complete our celebration and memorialization of Mark this evening. We'd like you to gather with our friends that are in the arena and one large circle on the lawn, and music will be playing, and as you exit, there are tables and baskets with candles, so our ushers will help you with that, and as it looks like most of us have gathered, the ushers will begin to light the candles. And when we've gathered and the candles are lit, the music will fade. I'll share a few closing words. I'm going to ask all of you to participate in reciting a quote that was really near and dear